The desperate signal commander, Sarah Chen, stood in the observation deck of the UES Terror's Edge, watching the distant stars shimmer through the reinforced viewport. The exploration vessel had been conducting routine deep space surveys for 3 months, mapping uncharted systems along the galactic rim. It was peaceful work, a far cry from the chaos of Earth's overcrowded cities and polluted skies. The soft hum of the ship's engines was interrupted by an urgent chime from the bridge. Sarah turned from the window, her weathered face creased with concern. After 20 years in the United Earth Space Force, she had learned to recognize the difference between routine alerts and genuine emergencies. "Commander Chen, to the bridge," came the voice of Communications Officer David Kim through the intercom. His usually calm demeanor carried an edge of excitement that made Sarah quicken her pace. She arrived on the bridge to find her crew clustered around David's station, their faces illuminated by the glow of multiple screens displaying wave patterns and data streams. Dr. Marcus Webb, the ship's xenobiologist, was leaning over David's shoulder, his grey beard nearly touching the console. "What do we have?" Sarah asked, settling into her command chair. David's fingers danced across his controls, isolating and amplifying the signal. "We picked up a transmission about an hour ago. It's not human, Commander. The mathematical structure is completely alien, but there are patterns that suggest intelligence." Chief Engineer Rosa Martinez looked up from her handheld diagnostic device. "The signal's weak, but it's definitely artificial. Someone or something is broadcasting on multiple frequencies simultaneously. I've never seen anything like it." Sarah felt her pulse quicken. Humanity had been exploring space for over a century, but they had never encountered definitive proof of alien intelligence. The discovery of habitable worlds had been exciting enough, but actual contact with another species would change everything. "Can you clean it up?" she asked. "Already working on it," David replied, his concentration absolute. "Dr. Webb's been helping with the linguistic analysis. We think we can run it through the translation matrix, but it's going to take time." Dr. Webb straightened, adjusting his glasses. "The mathematical foundations are fascinating. Whoever sent this uses base 12 mathematics, and their communication protocols are far more complex than anything we've developed. They're definitely more advanced than us." Rosa frowned. "If they're so advanced, why are they broadcasting on such primitive frequencies? My grandmother's radio could pick up these signals. Maybe they're trying to reach as many people as possible," Sarah suggested. "A distress call," David nodded. "That's what we're thinking. The repetition patterns and the way it's broadcasting omnidirectionally suggests an emergency transmission." The next 6 hours passed in intense concentration. Sarah watched her crew work with the dedication that had made the Terror's Edge one of the most successful exploration vessels in the fleet. David and Dr. Webb collaborated on breaking down the alien language, while Rosa ensured their systems could handle the complex computational requirements. Finally, David leaned back in his chair, exhaustion evident in his posture. "I think we've got it, Commander. The translation might not be perfect, but we should be able to understand the basic message." Sarah felt a mixture of anticipation and dread. "Play it." The bridge fell silent as David activated the translation. The original alien sounds were haunting, like crystal bells mixed with the whisper of wind through caves. But the translation that followed made everyone's blood run cold. "This is Crystal Singer, Ethon of the Zephyrian Communion, broadcasting from the inner spiral of what you might call the Andromeda sector. We are dying. our worlds burn. Our children hide in the deep places, but the harvesters find them all. We have heard whispers of a young species from the Deathworld called Terra. They say you are warriors born from a planet that kills. We offer our knowledge, our resources, everything we have, if you will help us. Please, children of the Deathworld, our time grows short. The harvesters consume all. Help us. The message repeated twice more before ending in static. The bridge remained silent for a long moment, each crew member processing the implications. Dr. Webb was the first to speak. Deathworld, they're referring to Earth as a death world. Makes sense, Rosa muttered. Most planets that could support life probably don't have hurricanes, earthquakes, volcanoes, and predators all trying to kill you at the same time. Sarah stared at the starfield ahead. David, how far away is this transmission coming from? Based on signal degradation and the timestamps in the message, I'd estimate about 6 weeks travel time at maximum burn. But Commander, we don't have the supplies or the firepower to help with whatever situation they're describing. No, Sarah agreed, but Earth Command does. Rosa, how quickly can we get a message back to Lunar Station? About 3 days for a priority. Transmission, Rosa replied, already running calculations on her tablet. Sarah made her decision. Send everything we have. Full recordings, linguistic analysis, star charts, everything. Mark it priority alpha, and David, prepare a response to the Zephyrians. Tell them we've received their message and help is being considered. 3 days later, the response from Earth Command arrived. Admiral Rebecca Torres appeared on the main screen, her weathered face serious. Sarah had served under Torres early in her career and had deep respect for the woman's tactical brilliance. Commander Chen, I've reviewed your report and the alien. Transmission, the President and the United Earth Council have been in emergency session for the past 18 hours. This is the most significant event in human history, and we're not going to ignore it. Sarah felt a mixture of relief and apprehension. What are your orders, Admiral? We're assembling the largest fleet in human history. The UES Indomitable will serve as flagship, along with 12 heavy cruisers, 8 destroyers, and 4 support carriers. We're also bringing the first Deathworld Marines, our best xenobiologists, and every diplomat we can spare. The scope of the operation was staggering. Admiral, that's almost half of our total fleet. I know. But Sarah, if this Cephorian species is as advanced as your analysis suggests, we could learn technologies that advance human civilization by centuries. And if these harvesters are as dangerous as they sound, we might be the only ones who can. Stop them. Dr. Webb leaned forward. Admiral, what makes you think we can succeed where the Zephyrians have failed? Torres smiled grimly. Because we're from Earth, Doctor. We've been fighting for survival since our species began. Every human alive today is the descendant of ancestors who survived ice ages, plagues, wars, and disasters that would have wiped out most species. We don't just adapt, we thrive in adversity. Sarah felt a surge of pride in her species. When do we begin? The fleet is already mobilizing. You'll rendezvous with us at the edge of the system in 4 days. I'm giving you temporary command of the Science Division, Sarah. Your crew's first contact protocols will be invaluable. The next 4 days passed in a blur of preparation. Sarah's crew worked round the clock, analyzing every aspect of the alien, transmission and preparing for scenarios they had only imagined in training simulations. The magnitude of what they were about to attempt was not lost on anyone. When the human fleet finally assembled, it was a sight that filled Sarah with both awe and determination. The massive ships hung in space like metallic cities, their hulls bristling with weapons and sensors. Thousands of humans from every nation on Earth were preparing to travel farther from home than any human had ever gone, to fight for people they had never met. Admiral Torres's voice echoed through every ship in the fleet. Citizens of Earth, we stand at the threshold of a new age. For the first time in human history, we have the opportunity to prove that the qualities that helped us survive our dangerous world can help others survive theirs. We go not as conquerors, but as protectors. We go not for glory, but for justice. We are the children of the death world, and we will not abandon those who call for our help. The fleet engaged their hyperdrive systems simultaneously, creating a brilliant display of light that would have been visible from Earth itself. As they jumped into hyperspace, Sarah felt the weight of history settling on her shoulders. Whatever happened next would determine not just the fate of the Zephyrians, but the future of humanity's place in the galaxy. During the long journey through hyperspace, Sarah worked closely with the fleet's military commanders to develop strategies for an enemy they had never seen. The Harvesters, based on the limited information in the Zephyrian transmission, seemed to be some kind of artificial intelligence that viewed organic life as inefficient and worthy of destruction. Colonel James Harrison, commander of the 1st Deathworld Marines, was particularly intrigued by the challenge. If they're machines, they'll think logically, predictably, but humans were chaos incarnate. We do things that make no sense, take risks that any rational being would avoid. That might be our advantage. Dr. Webb had been analyzing the linguistic patterns in the Zephyrian transmission. There's something else. The way they speak about us, about Earth being a death world. I don't think they understand what that means. They know we're survivors, but they might not comprehend the full extent of human adaptability. Sarah nodded. Then we'll have to show them. And more importantly, we'll have to show these harvesters what happens when they threaten our friends. As the fleet approached Zephyrian space, long-range sensors began detecting the aftermath of destruction. Entire star systems showed signs of recent devastation, with debris fields where planets had once orbited. The scale of the destruction was sobering, but it only strengthened the humans' resolve. The Terra's Edge, now serving as the fleet's forward scout, was the first to detect active Zephyrian signals. David's translations revealed a species on the brink of extinction, hiding in the deepest parts of their remaining worlds, still broadcasting their desperate plea for help. Sarah looked at the tactical display showing the approaching human fleet. Send a message to the Zephyrians. Tell them the children of the Death World have arrived. When Deathworlders unite, the Zephyrian homeworld of Crystalline appeared on the Terra's Edge's main screen like a wounded jewel. The planet's surface was a network of crystal formations that caught and reflected light in spectacular patterns. But huge sections lay dark and shattered. Massive scorch marks scarred the countenance, and debris from destroyed orbital stations created a deadly maze around the planet. My God, Dr. Webb whispered, staring at the destruction. The entire northern hemisphere looks like it's been systematically harvested. Admiral Torres's voice crackled through the communications system from the fleet flagship. Sarah, we're detecting massive artificial structures on the planet's surface. The harvesters are still there. Sarah studied the tactical display. Geometric shapes that hurt to look at directly were scattered across Crystalline's surface, slowly expanding outward like a mechanical plague. How many ships are we detecting? 68 harvester vessels in orbit, more landing on the surface every hour. But Sarah, we're also getting signals from the deep crystal caves. The Zephyrians are still alive down there. The human fleet maintained position just outside the system's edge. While Admiral Torres made final preparations, the harvesters hadn't detected them yet, but that advantage wouldn't last long. Sarah was chosen to lead the first contact team to the planet's surface, a mission that would require slipping past the harvester blockade. Chief Engineer Rosa Martinez had modified a stealth shuttle for the mission. The harvester sensors seemed to focus on energy signatures and metallic objects. This shuttle is mostly composite materials and runs on a cold fusion reactor. We should be able to get close without being detected. The descent to crystal surface was tense. Sarah sat in the pilot's seat while Dr. Webb monitored the alien communications frequencies. David Kim worked frantically to establish contact with the Zephyrian survivors hiding in the crystal caves below. The landscape that greeted them was unlike anything they had ever seen. The Zephyrians had grown their cities from living crystal, structures that sang in harmonious frequencies when the wind passed through them. But the harvester machines had left geometric scars across the crystalline formations, dead zones where nothing would ever grow again. "Commander, I'm getting a response from the caves," David reported. "They're sending coordinates for a safe landing site." The shuttle touched down in a hidden valley surrounded by towering crystal spires. As they disembarked, Sarah felt the planet's unique atmosphere, rich with trace minerals that made every breath taste like spring water. The gravity was slightly lighter than Earth's, making movement feel almost effortless. A section of the crystal wall began to glow, then iris opened like a flower. The beings that emerged were unlike anything in human imagination. The Zephyrians were tall and graceful, their translucent bodies catching and refracting light in rainbow patterns. They moved with flowing motions that seemed to dance even when walking normally. The lead Zephyrian approached Sarah with what she interpreted as reverence. When it spoke, its voice was like wind chimes in a gentle breeze. But David's translation device conveyed the meaning clearly. "You came. The children of the Deathworld actually came. I am Crystal Singer Ethon, first harmonizer of the Zephyrian communion. We had hoped, but we had not dared to believe." Sarah stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moment. "I'm Commander Sarah Chen of the United Earth Space Force. We received your message and came as quickly as we could. How many of your people are still alive?" Ethon's crystalline features dimmed with sorrow. "Of 12 billion Zephyrians across 7 worlds, perhaps 3 million remain. The harvesters have been ... thorough. They do not simply kill us, Commander. They erase us. Our art, our music, our history, everything that makes us who we are." Dr. Webb stepped forward, his scientific curiosity overcoming his diplomatic training. "What exactly are these harvesters? Are they artificial intelligence?" "They are the remnants of a species that chose to abandon organic life eons ago," Ethon explained. "They uploaded their consciousness into machines, believing this would make them immortal and efficient. But something went wrong. They became something else entirely, something that sees organic life as a mistake to be corrected." Sarah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the planet's temperature. How many species have they destroyed? Hundreds, perhaps thousands. They have been doing this for millennia, moving from system to system, galaxy to galaxy. They are patient, methodical, and utterly ruthless. The sound of approaching aircraft interrupted the conversation. Sarah looked up to see sleek, angular ships approaching the valley, Unlike the organic curves of human or Zephyrian vessels, these craft were all sharp angles and geometric precision. "Harvesters," Ethon said, his voice filled with terror. "They have found us." Sarah activated her communicator. "Admiral Torres, we need immediate extraction. The Harvesters have found our location." "Negative, Commander. We're beginning our attack. On the main fleet, you'll have to hold position until we can clear the orbital defenses." The first Harvester ship landed at the valley's entrance, disgorging mechanical warriors that moved with inhuman precision. Sarah had seen combat robots before, but these were different. They moved with the fluid grace of living beings, but their actions were coldly logical. "Rosa, get the shuttle ready for takeoff," Sarah ordered. "David, send a message to the fleet. Tell them we need immediate fire support." Dr. Webb was helping Ethon and the other Zephyrians toward the shuttle when the first Harvester units entered. The valley, Sarah drew her sidearm, knowing it would be largely useless against armored opponents, but determined to buy time for the evacuation. The Harvester units stopped at the valley's center, their optical sensors scanning the area with mechanical precision. Then, something unexpected happened. The lead unit spoke in perfect English. "Human beings, we have analyzed your species. You are an evolutionary dead end. Your planet is a statistical anomaly that produced aggressive, inefficient life forms. You will be processed." Sarah felt a surge of anger. "You picked the wrong species to threaten." The Harvester units raised their weapons, but before they could fire, the crystal formations around the valley began to resonate with a deep, harmonic frequency. The sound was beautiful and terrible, causing the Harvester units to stumble and their optical sensors to flicker. "The crystals," Ethon explained urgently. "They respond to strong emotion. Your anger, your determination, it's awakening them." Sarah realized that the Zephyrians had been fighting the wrong kind of war. They had tried to hide, to preserve their peaceful nature, but the crystals that made up their world were responding to human emotions in ways they had never experienced. "All human personnel, this is Commander Chen. The Zephyrian crystals are responding to human emotions. Use that anger, that determination that makes us human. Show these machines what Deathworld survivors are capable of." The message was transmitted to every human in the system. On the orbital battlefield, human Marines fighting aboard Harvester. Ships found that their battle cries seemed to resonate through the enemy vessel's crystalline components. Human pilots discovered that their instinctive, chaotic flying patterns were disrupting the Harvester's predictive algorithms. Admiral Torres's voice echoed through the fleet communications. "All units, the Harvesters are machines. They think logically, predictably. But we're human. We're chaos incarnate. Use that chaos." The tide of battle began to turn. Human fighters swarmed the Harvester formations like angry insects, their unpredictable movements confusing the enemy's targeting systems. The massive human cruisers fired not in precise patterns, but in seemingly random sequences that the Harvester defensive systems couldn't anticipate. On the planet's surface, Sarah watched as the Crystal Valley came alive with resonant energy. The Harvester units, designed to process predictable organic life, couldn't adapt to the combination of human unpredictability and Zephyrian crystal amplification. "Ethon," Sarah called out as they reached the shuttle. "Your people don't have to hide anymore. The crystals are responding to our emotions. Together we can fight back." The Crystal Singer's translucent features brightened with something Sarah had never seen before in the gentle alien's expression. Hope mixed with determination. You would teach us to be warriors." "No," Sarah replied as the shuttle lifted off. "We'll teach you to be survivors." The space battle raged for 6 hours. The harvesters had superior technology and numbers, but they had never faced an enemy like humanity. Colonel Harrison's Marines boarded enemy vessels and fought with a savagery that the logical harvester minds couldn't comprehend. Human engineers, like Rosa Martinez, found ways to turn the harvesters' own technology against them. Most importantly, the Zephyrians began to fight back. Guided by human tactical advisors, they used their crystal technology not just for defense, but for offense. Crystal formations across their homeworld began to sing in frequencies that disrupted harvester electronics. The turning point came when Dr. Webb made a crucial discovery. "The harvesters aren't just machines," he announced over the fleet communications. "They're still partially organic. They've been suppressing their organic components, but it's still there. That's why they're so afraid of chaos, of emotion. It reminds them of what they gave up." Admiral Torres immediately understood the implications. "All units, target their organic components. Make them remember what they used to be." The final assault was unlike anything in human military history. Human and Zephyrian forces working together, combining the chaos of human tactics with the harmonic precision of crystal technology. The harvester fleet, faced with an enemy that refused to conform to their logical predictions, began to break apart. As the last harvester vessel fled the system, Sarah stood on the bridge of the Terra's edge, watching Zephyrian crystal cities begin to sing again. The sound was hauntingly beautiful, a symphony of gratitude and hope. Commander Ethan's voice came through the communications system. "The Communion has voted. We formally request to join the Terran Alliance. We offer our knowledge, our technology, our worlds, in exchange for your protection and your friendship." Sarah smiled, looking out at the stars where more human ships were already arriving. Word had spread throughout human space that Earth's children had found their place in the galaxy not as conquerors, but as protectors. "Welcome to the family, Ethan, and don't worry about the harvesters. They might come back, but they'll find something they've never encountered before, a galaxy that refuses to give up." Admiral Torres's voice echoed through the fleet one final time. "All units, this is Admiral Torres. Mission accomplished. We came to save one species and discovered that the galaxy was full of people worth saving. The age of human isolation is over. The age of the Deathworld Defense Alliance begins now." As the combined human and Zephyrian fleets began to spread throughout the galaxy, carrying the message that organic life would no longer hide from mechanical tyranny, Sarah felt a deep satisfaction. Humanity had found its purpose among the stars, not to conquer, but to protect, not to dominate, but to defend those who couldn't defend themselves. The children of the Deathworld had come home to a galaxy that needed them.